I'm Rick.
I'm Megan. Welcome to the library. In 2004, we started opening it to the public, and it became really a community workshop. As a community workshop, it's entirely community supported.
We call this an experimental research library. It fosters experiments by people who may be artists, activists, scientists, historians, even academics. But it's also in itself an experiment.
In preparing to shelve the library, we thought about different ways of organizing book collections. One reason to have a physical collection is to support exploration-based research. The kind of exploration that really relies on eyes, hands, the sweep of your gaze. In a geospatial taxonomy, that kind of exploration-based research is a natural fit.
We discovered a community built around collections, and the library community has grown to thousands of people. Many of them come to events that are hosted here. And what's kind of cool is that nobody comes here because they have to. They come here because they want to. We're completely staffed by volunteers. The people who have helped build this place are people who come in with just some visceral reaction. I have to work here. I have to do something here. It's this really amazing self-selection process. It's a place where you come to make things. We sometimes think of it as a maker space for history.
Over many years, this collection has come to serve a worldwide community of researchers of every kind.
We've been here for 16 years. We hope to be here for many more. We hope you'll come visit, join us in this project, use this material as best you can for your own work, become a part of this place.
Good morning. This is the concert music station, KSFR San Francisco, broadcasting at 94.9 megacycles, channel 235, from studios and offices at 10 Claude Lane, San Francisco 8, California. KSFR is devoted to an exclusive concert music policy of presenting the world's greatest music 7 days a week. We trust you will choose to stay with us as we commence another day of broadcasting the world's finest music.
final score, 41-8.
It's Bartels and Blaine.
A&W Root Beer Drive-In.
Whenever you're out and you want to be in,
You'll be in at Bartels and Blaine.
A&W Root Beer Drive-In. The instant super service drive-in.
And super service means Bartels and Blaine's A&W Root Beer Drive-Ins on the peninsula. Enjoy Bartell and Blaine's famous king-size Papa Burger, just enough size Mama Burger, or the tot-size Baby Burger. Perfect with frosty, delicious A&W Root Beer. Wherever you are on the peninsula, you're close to a Bartels and Blaine's A&W Root Beer Drive-In. So drive in.
It's Bartels and Blaine.
A&W Root Beer Drive-Ins. Whenever you're out and you want to be in.
Tony Big, tonight at 6, one of 7 good reasons why KYA is number 1.
If it's going on, it's going on. Radio KYA. Radio KYA.
You know, in teen jive talk, the phrase is come and go. I've been hearing cool or coolant for the past years. It might catch on. Then there's groove it in the groove. Now I'm hearing super. I asked some kids over at McClymonds High School the meaning of super, superior, supreme, a guy who eats a lot of soup. They said, no, Jumpin', it's just crazy, super. Well, whatever the case, here's...
KYA $1 Million Weekend sign code Johnny Be Good. It's 4:07. KYA name it and claim it time.
Know what San Francisco needs? Another earthquake.
An earthquake?
That's right. Not the 1906 kind. It's time to shake up San Francisco. It's time to shake off the tired, the old, the failing ways. It's time to stop talking about our slums, our crime, our transportation mess, our tax problem, our school problems, our people against people tensions.
It's time for the big change. Time for a great mayor for San Francisco.
You, yes, you can help. Support Joe Alioto for mayor of the city that's at the crossroads. Which way will San Francisco go? With your help, Joe Alioto will move San Francisco forward. He has the courage to face our problems, the experience to make decisions, the ability to get the job done.
Joe Alioto, native San Franciscan, one of America's most successful lawyers, dedicated to building the San Francisco we want for our tomorrow.
A great mayor is what San Francisco needs right now. Joe Alioto, with your help, can do the job.
Paid for by Alioto for Mayor Committee.
Of all places housing artists in the city, the Montgomery Block has the oldest tradition. Behind these barrack windows, George Sterling wrote some of his finest poems. Frank Norris wrote novels here, and so did Charles and Kathleen Norris. Once this massive building of brick and stone contained San Francisco's first law library. Once, high-hatted, wax-mustached lawyers and stockbrokers had offices here. But in the 90s, artists began to
The following sounds are samples of jingles prepared for Richard H. Ullman Incorporated by IMN Productions. No portion of this tape is licensed for broadcast in any form.
KOBY, San Francisco! This is Radio 1.
Wonderful Kobe,
We've an obligation to you.
You love KOBY San Francisco.
Yes, you do.
right, excitingly wonderful Kobe.
We've the best in listening, it's true.
So from KOBY San Francisco, from Radio 1 San Francisco,
here's to you.
This is Orson Welles, speaking from Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay. Some millions of Americans came to a World's Fair here in Treasure Island not so long ago, and 1 million or so more have come here since on more serious affairs, for this, you know, is now a mighty naval station, a jumping-off place for those who've gone out to war in the Pacific, and a reception center for the many who've come back. Tourists and transient sailors have had this much in common anyway, a breathless view of bridge and sky, of ships come proudly to a proud city, and of the place itself, the magic city named for St. Francis, who used to talk to the little birds about the love of God, and to men about the brotherhood of man. When last I was here in San Francisco, it was spring. Spring, and the Conference of the United Nations seemed to hold the promise of a world springtime, the awakening of decency between the governments, of justice among the peoples. Peace, I remembered, looked bright and green on the bud. But now it's winter again, and across the sea, war, which started in a very distant-sounding place called Manchuria, is still raging. It's winter. Spring and peace seem quite a ways off today. Today being the day after the 4th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, in the 5th month of the first year of the age of the atom.
Governor Merriam, ladies and gentlemen, rarely, perhaps never in my life, have I been as thrilled as I have been today. Starting with a visit to my old friends of nearly a quarter of a century ago at the Mare Island Navy Yard, and then that trip by motor over wonderful highways to that view of your two new bridges that I'd never seen before. That wonderful reception all along the line of Maud. I think that you people out here on the coast, when you start to do something, do it better than anywhere else in the United States.
And its purpose is to assist him in maintaining discipline within the police department. However, the mayor points out that the board serves only in an advisory capacity. It transmits confidential reports on complaints to the commissioner, and it is the police commissioner who retains all of the disciplinary powers and who is the final authority on all decisions concerning complaints against policemen.
Significantly, of the 4 civilians on the police review board, 2 are Negro, 1 a Puerto Rican. KDIA Sports, the All-Star game in St. Louis today. The best of the National League meets the best of the American League. Indications are the weather is hot. It may have a bearing. KDIA sounds off.
Cesar Chavez may not have been as entertaining to some as the Shriners, but his parade had more meaning behind it. Also, I think that's a good way to hold a protest rally. It's better to enlist the support of the general public than it is to antagonize and get on their nerves. You get farther that way faster. Thank you.
For your opinion, call the Sound Off line at 834-6765. The KDIA Oakland weather forecast for the San Francisco Bay, low overcast and local drizzle through tomorrow morning. However, clearing weather this afternoon. The high today around the Bay, 60 to 70.
We return you now to our San Francisco studios.
Open up the Golden Gate.
After 100 years of operation, the San Francisco Mint is down to its last cent. With the exhaustion of copper blanks, the last batch of pennies rolls out of the machines. Minting of silver coins had been suspended a week earlier. Cost of transporting the pennies east, where they are mostly used, was given as the reason for ending penny coinage. As the last lot whirls through the counter, old-time employees, many with more than 20 years' experience, look on sadly, remembering the traditions which have surrounded the Mint. The very last cent from an institution which began in the gold rush days. Once capable of issuing 1.5 million coins a day, the Mint falls silent.
Louis Freeman, KDIA News. In this country and civil rights development, San Francisco, the attorney representing San Francisco's 1964 civil rights sit-in demonstrators has asked the state Supreme Court to stay their jail sentences. He bases the move upon the fact that 15 of the demonstrators have already been jailed, and unless the state Supreme Court grants a stay, practically all of them will have served their sentences by the time the United States Supreme Court acts. Civil rights groups are meeting in San Francisco at the Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. It's anticipated that they will announce their position on the auto row arrest and sentences. In the North, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King says that demonstrations will hit Chicago for an extended period. That story is reported in detail by Roy Wood.
This is Roy Wood reporting to KDIA from Chicago, Illinois, where Dr. Martin Luther King is calling for nonviolent assault on the problems that are being faced by Negroes in the city. Yesterday, he had a meeting with Mayor Daley that he reported as disappointing. The mayor charged that the civil rights leaders didn't propose any constructive suggestions for municipal reforms. All they did was recite lists of problems. Dr. King says the mayor rejected the two major demands by the civil rights leaders, the rights for a civilian review board for the police department and immediate action on housing for the underprivileged. He's pledged a 3-month campaign of marches and direct action against individual slumlords. Roy Wood reporting to KDIA from Chicago.
Over in the nation's capital, a Negro civil rights leader, the Reverend Cleveland Sparrow, says that the nation's capital may see more demonstrations and more violent ones. He indicates that at any time, summer violence could erupt in the capital unless something is done about the plight of the Negro in the federal city.
What? No job? Well, don't worry. I know what they'll tell you. You're too young. You're inexperienced. You're not in the union. We can't bond you. You've been in trouble. You're not a graduate. We can't use you. But don't worry. Don't worry. Old lady will lose her Christmas money. Purse will be snatched. Some old man will be knocked down. And everybody will wonder why.
So like people, but if they don't see you fight, it's hearsay. That's what they believe it because you're in a club and you wearing a club jacket. That's what you're a thug right away to the public then. You know, but it's some people that realize that you know that by being in a club, but it can be a good thing and a club can be a bad thing. Yeah, but you have to start off with the right thing to end up right.
In spite of some initial opposition concerning law and order, the party did go off quite smoothly after all, enjoyed by several hundred youth for service participants and their dates. Only one slight mishap was reported. A policeman somehow lost his badge.
The sound of the city, the sounds that are heard in San Francisco are mixed with daylight's glimmering rays and moonbeams shimmering glow. When darkness settles on the city, homeward people on their way, chimes ringing softly in the stillness, fog creeping slowly across the bay. Hear the sound of the city, the sounds that are heard in San